How do you know if a game is far too clever for its own good? How well can worker placement, area control and tableau building really get along? Well, that's what we're here to find out. I'm your host Benji, and this is Dwellings of Eldervale. Set in the titular land, you take charge of workers, warriors, wizards and dragons seeking adventure and vying for power against other players in a land inhabited by giant elemental monsters that I can assure you are not out to make your life any easier. Its worker placement sees you taking the resources on a chosen space or carrying out the appropriate action for that location. You might be able to expand the modular board and buy tableau cards, or switch up resources and gain spells amongst other things. But the tricky part to all of this is that most of your units have to be placed in an adjacent space to one you've already occupied. So the entire board is never really going to look like your own personal playground. You've got to map out where you really need to go with what you've got available. But this is much more than vanilla worker placement. You'll be growing your tableau, not only to provide you with passive benefits, but also to give you extra spaces for your workers. And that's because once you've none left to place, you then have to regroup, giving you the option to remove your meeples from the board and place them on the cards in your tableau, to recruit new units or put down roots and build dwellings at locations on the board, or even collect more resources depending on the cards you have. And once that cycle is complete, you rinse and repeat that whole process throughout the remainder of the game. And all this goes without mentioning the roaming elemental monsters that set up shop and have no problem with charging you if you get too close to their territory. With each big bad having their own very particular set of skills, you need to stack the odds in your favour by using available meeples and rolling as many dice as possible to achieve a favourable outcome. The same rules apply for multiplayer combat, so expect a great deal of ruckus with those round the table. So why might you like it? Well, there's certainly a great deal of variability in the way each game is set up with the modular board, and that will generally mean certain combinations of actions might not be available due to their positioning. So that forces you to reconsider your route to victory every time. And when you combine this with the different elemental tracks you can pursue, the differing card types you can obtain, and the bespoke rules for the units of each chosen faction, you'll find there is a great deal of individuality and depth to be found in each playthrough. And by extension to that point, it's extremely challenging and gratifying figuring out just how to make the most of each of your workers and where you place them. Whilst there are a couple of units that can break placement restrictions, you by and large have to satisfy yourself with doing only some of the things you want to do each cycle. And instead of being gifted workers, you have to consider how much investment you want to put forward to increase your available units, in the hope that short-term pain becomes long-term gain. And finally, considering its medium to heavyweight complexity, it chugs along at a fair clip once you know what you're doing, and it's very rare that you're not filling your downtime either engaged with what's going on your opponent's turn or mapping out what you might want to do next. This is a testament to how well these mechanics work in harmony together that results in such refined gameplay. But why might you not like it? Well, it's fair to say that the combat elements leave a little bit too much to random luck. Yes, you can put yourself in a position to roll more dice with the high number winning. It all feels a little bit too random and chaotic. Also, if you prefer predictable game endings or a set number of rounds, then the player-led ability to rush one of the two available endgame conditions may not be welcome. There have been measures put in place to mitigate this, but nonetheless it's something to bear in mind. But when all's said and done, this hybrid mashup of a game with beautiful production runs very smoothly considering all its moving parts, and has a great deal going for it, most notably its originality. I think I would have gone with Residences of Eldervale, or even better, Lodgings of Eldervale. Yeah, much better.